Borderlands, the movie, is written and directed by Eli Roth and has a huge star cast of Kate Blanchett, Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and so many more. And all that cast is wasted because Borderlands the movie is honestly one of the worst films to come out this year. So I'm sure most of you know is that this film is getting panned by critics. It's sitting at, I believe, a 7% on Rotten Tomatoes as of recording this video. And honestly, yeah, it's pretty bad. But let me tell you what I think about the video games first. I mean, this is a video game movie, so I might as well go ahead and tell you my history about the video games before I talk about the movie. And I have a love and hate relationship for this series. When it comes to the gameplay, I think it's fine. I'm not a huge fan of looter shooters, but the story and writing, I dread. The story and writing for the Borderlands series reminds me of like edgy 8th grade writing, you know, where every other line has to have fuck in it, or every other line has to have some sort of sex joke or some sort of innuendo. Personally, for me, I don't like those kinds of video games because of their writing, but I love Tales from the Borderlands, which is a story-focused Borderlands game that I fully recommend. And I was hoping that this film would be more like Tales from the Borderlands and not really like Borderlands 1 or 2. But perhaps I judged Borderlands 2 too harshly because this movie makes the writing of those games seem like they were written by freaking Shakespeare. Now, before I talk about the negatives, let me at least talk about the positives because I do have some good things to say. Well, I mean, one good thing to say, and that's that the film looks kind of nice. I mean, the movie looks kind of like the video games because they add in like this weird like cell shading like paint design to some of the clothing to make it seem like it's that cell shading graphics to the video game. But in my personal opinion, when you're making a movie-based video game, the bare minimum of what you need to do is to make it look like the games. That's the bare minimum of what you need to do. That's like making your first opening paragraph for your essay. Now go ahead and make the rest of the essay. Make your good essay. But the director and writer here decided, I mean, it looks like the video game. That's all we need, right? Who cares about good characters and good storytelling? Hey, it looks like the game. That's all we need, right? So yeah, that's like the only good thing I have to say. Now let's talk about the negatives because, oh boy, I have a lot to say. So let's start off with the story. So, similar to the video games, you have this group of ragtag individuals called Vault Hunters, and they're out searching for a vault on this planet called Pandora. And if you know me, I love a good Indiana Jones style hunting for a treasure kind of movie. I love watching a film where it's a bunch of individuals who don't get along, but then they soon get along as they search for this grand treasure. And you have this other group of people that are probably looking for treasure, that are probably bad guys that want to use the treasure for evil. Films like that, I thoroughly love. But unfortunately in this movie, there's just nothing to the story. It's just a group of individuals going out to find a treasure, but they just go to one scene, talk for a few minutes, go to another scene, talk for a few minutes, go to another scene, talk for a few minutes, go to another scene, talk for a few minutes, maybe a short action sequence in between, go to another scene, talk for a few minutes, movie's over. That's it. And the thing is, with all of this talking, it's just nonsense. There's nothing to expand the characters and their growth. There's nothing to give the characters anything fun to do. Kevin Hart's in this movie. He doesn't have a funny thing to say. Kate Blanchett, she looks like she just walked on set bored out of her mind. Everyone just seems like they just didn't want to be there. The story is just non-existent here. The villain, if you can even call him that, has nothing to do in this story either. He's just there. He's like, oh, I want to get the vault. I want the treasure. Why? We don't know. Doesn't explain. What's his character trait? Big bad businessman. That's all he has for his character. In fact, I learned this after seeing the movie, is that this character isn't even in the game. Why not just use one of the most iconic villains from the games, Handsome Jack, for this movie? Why write a bland nobody for this movie when you had a perfect template for a good villain, but nope. Again, the writer and director just didn't care. Now, speaking of characters, not a single one has anything unique going for them. All of them just have one very bland personality trait, like you have Claptrap, who I would give it credit for. is probably the most similar to how he is in the game. He's the silly, funny, goofy robot. But Kate Blanchett, as Lilith, she's just this mysterious vault hunter. And that's it. And you have Kevin Hart, who's the big brooding soldier. And that's it. You have whoever played the Psycho, I'm sorry, I don't even know his name. He's just the big brute. Nothing going on for his character. It's like the director just wrote down one sentence for the character's personality trait and just went, job's done. The guys who play the video games will know all the other context they need. We don't need to do any effort or any work here to add in anything for the characters. We don't need to do any of that. This is for fans of the game. They'll know how these characters are supposed to act. We don't need to, write a good cohesive narrative, write anything good for these characters to do. Fans of the games will know everything they need to know. Who cares? I care. I care. Because I barely played any of the games, and I would like to know more about these characters. I care. I care about a good story. But clearly the writer and director, Eli Roth, didn't give a shit about making this movie. He just wanted to make a quick buck of like, oh, we need an IP for a movie. Yeah, what about Borderlands? Eh, sure, why not? And the action sequences are just lifeless. There is just nothing here. It's poorly shot, very bland to look at, mediocre visual effects, and the choreography is just so weird and poorly done. Like, there's a scene where all of our characters are shooting against these group of like villains that are coming after them, and one of the characters just there's a weird like twirl for no reason. He's like, oh, I need to shoot her. Oh wait, let me do a nice fun little twirl, and then I'll shoot them. Like, the choreography is just, it's like the director just went, do whatever you want. Action! And the jokes are miserably unfunny. Like, not a single joke made me laugh. You saw the clip I showed in the beginning where it's just a minute of Claptrap just shooting out bullets for like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and it's just staring at the screen. My brain just went, I want to go home. I don't want to watch this anymore. I just want to go home. Not a single joke in this movie landed for me. Now, to be fair, like I said, I don't find the Borderlands games that funny, but this movie makes those feel like they're written by Shakespeare. Like I said, the writing and jokes here are just, it's like a 6th grader was like, oh, what's funny? Poop. That's funny. Or what's funny? I don't know. How about, oh, piss. That's funny. All right, jokes about poop and piss. There we go. Job done. Like, it's just 2 hours of just unfunny jokes. It's like going to see a comedian and not a single joke being funny. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I was getting a headache. I saw this with a friend of mine who's actually a big fan of the Borderlands games, and he didn't even find the film funny. I saw this film for free because I have a special subscription over at AMC, so I got to see this film for free, and I still feel ripped off. I want my money back. I want my free money back. And the acting, I would say, is on par with what you would find like in a middle school play. It is that bad. Jack Black as Claptrap was okay, but I found him so annoying. Like, almost every other line that he said just made me whisper in my mouth, shut up. Stop talking. Please stop talking. Please, for the love of God, stop talking. Kate Blanchett, I mean, good God, I feel bad for her because she's at least trying. Because they have a little bit of stuff for her character to do. Just a little bit, for her character to be, have some personality. But, again, she just feels like she's trying her damnedest to get just a little bit of something out of this character, but there's just nothing in this story for her to do. So in the end, her performance just seems like a desperate attempt just to bring some sort of life to this movie, but there's just nothing here for her to do. Now, whenever I review movies, I at least try to find, one little piece of passion put into it whenever I review movies. Like, if I could just tell that there's just a tiny bit of passion and some vision the director was trying to go for, then I can at least be like, alright, the director was trying, because making movies is hard. Writing scripts is hard. So I can notice just a tiny bit of love and passion put into a movie. that at least makes me be like, okay, they tried. But in here, I kid you not, I cannot find a single ounce of passion put into this by the director and writer, Eli Roth. I can just tell that he just did not give a shit. It hurts my heart to just bash a movie because I love movies so much. When you make a movie like this, there's just nothing else I can do but bestow upon this the unholy top hat. Borderlands, you are a sin against cinema. But the review's not over yet because I have a special surprise for y'all. We have our very first guest here. My good friend Anthony, who went along with me to see this movie, who, bless his heart, he paid for this movie. I got to see it for free. He has a little bit of a mini review for you guys. He decided to record his reaction and mini review for you guys to listen to and what a big fan of Borderlands thought of this. So, he got the opinion of someone who didn't like the game. Now here are the quick opinions of someone who did like the game.
Hey guys, I'm the one who actually paid to see this movie. I appreciate Caleb for allowing me to say my 2 cents here because trust me, I would not have imposed myself as such if this film wasn't as laughably bad as it was. And I mean it. The best way to describe this movie is that it just makes you feel nothing. The story felt like nothing. The characters were just cheap imitations of the video game's counterpart, so there was no emotional weight to any of their actions. The fight choreography was so boring and sometimes shockingly foolish, I was planted firmly behind the edge of my seat the whole time. And I don't even want to talk about the writing and the acting. I'm sure Caleb talked enough about those in his review. As a Borderlands 2 fan, I really wish I could say something good about it, but I just can't. Caleb and I sat for probably 20 minutes in the parking lot afterwards just trying to find any redeeming qualities for it and ultimately coming up short. Please do not watch this movie, even if you want a good bad time. I think I'm going to go watch the Sonic movies to even it out.
Thank you so much for that mini review, Anthony. Couldn't have said it better myself. Guys, if it's your first time here and you like what you've seen, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. It helps the channel grow, and that way you can see more terrible films like this for your entertainment. And have you seen Borderlands? God, I hope you didn't. But if you did, what did you think about it? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I hope you have a fantastic night. And as always, stay fancy.